The stars outside Outpost Epsilon were frozen in the endless black. Dr. Evan Cole sat alone in his small research cabin, a cup of cold coffee beside his datapad. The hum of the air filters and the faint buzz of the power lines were the only sounds left at this late hour. Everyone else on the station had gone to sleep. Evan liked the silence. It gave him space to think. He studied the ancient glyphs from the excavation below. Strange curved marks carved into metal older than any known civilization. No one could explain how such structures existed on a dead planet, hundreds of light years from Earth. He leaned closer to the screen. The translation software gave nonsense again. The symbols changed meaning each time the program ran, as if the language itself were alive. Then, without a warning tone, his cabin door slid open with a hiss. Evan jumped so hard he spilled his coffee. Lieutenant Mara Voss stood in the doorway, her short brown hair messy, her uniform unzipped halfway, her face pale under the dim blue light. "Evan," she whispered, "you need to come with me. Right now." He frowned, wiping the coffee from his sleeve. "Mara, what's wrong?" "It's midnight cycle." She glanced over her shoulder as if someone might be following her. Then she stepped inside and the door closed behind her. "We're not alone," she said quietly. The words hit him harder than the cold air. Evan stared. "What do you mean?" "Just come see." She turned and headed down the narrow corridor. Evan hesitated, then followed. The metal floor panels echoed beneath their boots. The outpost lights were dimmed for night shift, giving the halls a ghostly blue tone. In the comms room, 2 technicians sat staring at the main display. The screen flickered with green static and long bursts of unreadable code. Mara pointed to the lower corner. "That's not background radiation. It's a repeating signal." Evan stepped closer. The data wave pulsed in steady rhythm. 4 beats, pause, 4 beats again. It was too regular to be random. "Is it coming from the surface?" he asked. "Below it," Mara said. "Under the ice." Evan's heart began to race. "There's nothing down there except ruins." The technician shook his head. "We thought so too. But the frequency is identical to one of our encrypted channels. Somehow it's using our code." Evan stared at the screen. Through the static, a faint sound broke through, like a whisper pressed through layers of static. He leaned forward. "Can you filter that?" Mara typed quickly. The noise cleared slightly, shaping into a series of tones, rising, falling, repeating. It almost sounded like a voice speaking from deep underwater. "What language is that?" one technician asked. Evan opened his tablet and ran the sample through his translation software, the same one he used for ancient glyphs. The program processed for several seconds, then printed a single word in glowing letters. Awaken. Mara's eyes widened. "Awaken?" Evan swallowed. Maybe it's just coincidence. A pattern misread by the program. Before anyone could reply, every monitor in the room flickered. The lights dimmed, then brightened again. Across all screens, engineering, life support, security, the same word appeared in white text over black background. "Awaken." An alarm beeped softly, then stopped. The hum of the ventilation slowed. For a few seconds, the whole outpost seemed to hold its breath. "Power fluctuation," a technician said nervously. Evan stared at the word. He remembered the glyphs from earlier. The same curved pattern repeated 3 times at the bottom of the tablet image. The translation program had listed one possible meaning. He whispered it out loud. "Awaken." Mara turned toward him. "Evan, you saw this before?" "Maybe, on the relics we found last week." Her brow furrowed. "The ones under the glacier?" He nodded slowly. "Yes, but we thought they were burial markers." A sharp crack echoed through the station. The lights flickered again. From somewhere in the lower decks came a deep metallic rumble, like thunder rolling through the bones of the outpost. The comms console beeped again, but this time it wasn't static. It was a voice. A mechanical, layered tone filled the speakers. "Epsilon Station. Awake." Everyone froze, Mara whispered. That sounded human. Evan's mouth went dry. "Play it again." She replayed it. The voice repeated, clearer this time. "Epsilon Station. Awake," then silence. Evan felt a chill crawl up his arms. "It knows where we are." Mara stared at him. "You think it's intelligent?" "Intelligent enough to mimic our speech." She straightened her shoulders. "We need to inform Commander Reese." But before they could move, the main door to the comms room opened and Commander Reese stepped inside. The tall man looked half-dressed, his expression sharp and tired. What's going on here? Why are the night crews running emergency code? Mara gestured to the screen. Sir, we picked up a signal from beneath the surface. It's using our encryption. It sent a message. Reese studied the screen for a long moment. A prank? Evan shook his head. No, sir. It's genuine. The frequency originates below ground level, beneath the ice shelf. The commander exhaled slowly. Fine, log the event. Tomorrow we'll send a team to trace the source. For now, shut down comms until we understand this interference. He turned to leave, but paused at the door.
And Lieutenant Voss, next time knock before you open someone's cabin. Mara nodded awkwardly.
Yes, sir. When Reese left, the room fell silent again except for the faint hum of the computers. Evan sat down, rubbing his eyes. You think he believes us? Not a chance, Mara said. But her hands were still trembling. They both turned as the lights flickered once more, just once, and the same word appeared on the side monitor again, awaken. Only this time, it was followed by a line of numbers, coordinates pointing directly beneath their own station. Later that night, Evan couldn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling of his cabin, replaying the message in his mind. Epsilon Station, awake. He turned on the small lamp and pulled up the glyph scans again. He compared the new coordinates to the maps of the excavation zone. The spot lay just a few hundred meters below their dig site, an area they had never explored because of unstable ice. He leaned back, exhaling. What are you trying to show us? He muttered. Then a soft chime sounded from his terminal. An unread file blinked open by itself. It was labeled Echo, audio recovered. Evan frowned. He hadn't downloaded anything. He clicked it. A gentle static filled the room, then the same deep voice spoke again. Dr. Evan Cole, do not sleep. We remember you. The screen flickered, showing for an instant the silhouette of something tall and human-shaped, standing in a field of blue light. Then the image vanished, and the file deleted itself. Evan's breath came fast. He looked at the clock. 3 a.m. He hit the intercom.
Mara, are you awake?
Static. He tried again. Lieutenant Voss, respond. Still nothing. Then, 3 soft knocks on his cabin door. He froze. Slowly, he stood and opened the door. Mara was there again, eyes wide, voice shaking. Evan, it's not just a signal anymore. Something's moving down there. The sensors just picked up heat signatures, and they're coming up. Evan felt the floor tremble beneath his feet. From somewhere below, a deep sound rose through the metal plates like a massive heartbeat echoing in the dark. He met Mara's eyes. What did we wake up? The lights went out. The alarm blared through Outpost Epsilon as red emergency lights flickered across the metal walls. Evan Cole and Lieutenant Mara Voss ran through the narrow corridor, their breath visible in the cold air. The temperature was dropping fast. Systems were failing one by one. What's happening now? Evan shouted over the sirens. Mara tapped the wrist console. Power grid just reset itself. But that's not the worst part. The seismic sensors, they're detecting movement. Evan stopped. Movement? You mean someone's down there? Mara shook her head, eyes wide. Not someone. Something. They reached the control room where Commander Reese and 2 engineers were staring at the main screen. A map of the planet's icy surface filled the display. Below the outpost, several red dots were moving slowly upward through the ice. Large, steady, organized. Reese turned to them. Tell me this is an error. The engineer swallowed. No, sir. The heat signatures are real. About 15 meters across each. Coming from 2 kilometers below, Mara whispered. That's where the old excavation site is. Evan's hands trembled slightly. The coordinates the message sent us. The commander's jaw tightened. All right. We're sealing the lower levels. Nobody goes near that site until we understand what's under there. But even as he spoke, the station lights flickered again. A faint vibration ran through the floor, a slow, steady rhythm almost like a heartbeat. The sound came from deep below, and every few seconds it grew louder. Evan stared at the screen. It's not random. It's in sync with the signal we heard. Mara leaned closer. You mean, it's communicating? Before anyone could answer, the intercom crackled to life. A voice low and mechanical spoke through the static. Open the door. Everyone froze. The commander barked, Who is this? Identify yourself. No response. Just a faint hum, followed by the same phrase again, softer this time. "Open the door," Evan whispered. "It's talking about the chamber under the ice." Reese turned toward him sharply. "Explain." Evan opened his tablet and displayed a 3D model of the dig site. "When we found the ruins, we stopped digging after reaching this sealed structure. It looked like a vault or a gateway. But if the signal is coming from there," Mara finished the thought. "Then something wants out." The commander paced. "You're suggesting we just leave it? Let it dig itself up?" Evan hesitated. "If we don't investigate, we'll never know what's down there. And if it keeps moving upward, it might reach us anyway." Reese looked at them both, his expression grim. "Fine, you two are the scientists. You want to see what's under there? You'll lead a team down, but you follow protocol. You keep a line open at all times, and if anything feels wrong, you come back immediately. Understood?" Evan and Mara nodded. The descent 2 hours later, the exploration shuttle Falcon 3 lowered through a shaft drilled beneath the outpost. Thick clouds of frost swirled outside the viewports. The deeper they went, the darker it became. Only the shuttle's floodlights cut through the ice. Evan sat beside Mara, both wearing pressure suits and oxygen helmets. The pilot, Sergeant Kale, guided the shuttle through the narrow tunnel. The sound of cracking ice echoed around them. Mara checked the scanner. "We're nearing the source, 50 meters below." The floodlights illuminated a vast cavern, a hollow space in the ice large enough to fit a city block. In the center stood a massive metallic structure, shaped like a doorway, covered in symbols glowing faint blue. Evan leaned forward, eyes wide. "That's not natural. It's engineered." The shuttle landed gently on the icy ground. They stepped out, boots crunching on frost. The silence was heavy, broken only by the faint hum coming from the door-like structure. Evan approached the metal surface and placed his gloved hand on it. It was warm, impossibly warm. Mara scanned the structure with her wrist console. "It's reacting to something. Wait. It's reading human biosignatures." Evan frowned. "That's impossible." Then, as if hearing her words, the symbols on the structure shifted. Lines of light crawled across the surface, forming new patterns. The hum deepened, becoming rhythmic, almost like breathing. Mara stepped back. "Evan, it's responding to you." He looked at her. "To me? Why?" Before either could move, the door released a soft hiss. A vertical seam appeared down the middle. The metal began to split apart slowly, revealing darkness inside. Kale shouted over the comms, "Sir!" "I'm getting radiation spikes." The signal cut off. Evan and Mara turned as their comms went dead. The lights on the shuttle flickered. Then, from the open door, a faint light began to glow, white pulsing like a heartbeat. Evan's voice trembled. It's calling us." Mara's breathing grew fast inside her helmet. "Evan, stop." "We don't even know what it is," but he couldn't move away. The symbols on the metal surface were identical to the ones from his research, the same patterns that had translated into the word awaken. He took a step closer. "This isn't a trap. It's a message." Mara grabbed his arm. "A message that's 2 kilometers under solid ice, sending our encryption codes and calling your name." "That's not just a message." Suddenly the hum changed. The same voice from the outpost speakers whispered around them, echoing through their helmets. "Welcome, descendants." The air seemed to vibrate with the sound. The icy walls shimmered as if the whole cavern were alive. Mara whispered, "Did it just say, descendants?" Evan's throat tightened. "I think so." A bright pulse shot out from the doorway, washing over them like a wave of light. For a brief second, both of their helmet visors flickered with images. Strange cities, stars collapsing, and humans walking beside alien shapes in ancient ruins. Then the light faded. Their visors cleared. Evan looked down at his wrist console. The signal was gone. The energy levels were dropping fast. Mara turned to him. "What did we just see?" "I don't know," he whispered. "But those were humans. And they were here, long before us." Before they could say more, a loud crack echoed through the cavern. The ground trembled violently. The massive door began to close again, metal grinding against metal. "Run!" Mara shouted. They sprinted back to the shuttle. The ice floor split open behind them as a rush of warm air burst from below. They barely made it inside before the hatch sealed shut. Kale restarted the engines, struggling with the controls. "Hold on!" The shuttle shot upward through the shaft as the cavern collapsed below them. Through the rear camera, Evan saw the metallic structure sink into the ice, but not completely. Just before the feed cut out, a human silhouette stepped through the closing doorway, bathed in white light. Evan's breath caught. "Did you see that?" Mara's voice was shaking. "Tell me that was just a reflection." But deep down, neither of them believed that. Back at Outpost Epsilon, the shuttle docked safely. Commander Reese was waiting, his face pale. "What happened down there?" "We lost your signal for 10 minutes, Mara pulled off her helmet. "We found it, sir." "The source of the signal?" "It's some kind of ancient chamber, human-made." Reese frowned. "Human-made? That's impossible." Evan opened his datapad and showed the last images captured before the feed cut. "That's what we thought too." The commander stared at the image, the massive door and the faint figure behind it. "What is that thing?" Evan's voice was quiet. "It called itself a descendant." Reese rubbed his temples. "You're telling me there were humans here before us?" "I'm saying," Evan replied softly, "we might not be the first humans to walk this galaxy." Mara turned toward the window. Outside, the storm clouds over the planet were thickening, glowing faintly with light from beneath the ice. Reese followed her gaze. "Is that natural?" The light pulsed once, bright enough to illuminate the entire sky. Evan whispered, "It's sending another message." The word appeared on every monitor in the control room again, clear and bold. "Awakened." And this time, a new word followed beneath it. "Remember." The room fell silent. Evan felt a cold shiver run down his spine. Whatever they had uncovered wasn't just awake, it remembered them. Van Cole sat in the dimly lit control room of Outpost Epsilon, staring at the blinking monitors. The word "remember" still glowed faintly on every screen. Mara Voss stood next to him, her arms crossed, eyes wide. "Do you think it's a warning?" Evan swallowed. "I don't know, but it's ancient, older than anything we've ever seen. And it's human." Commander Reese paced the room. "You're telling me that humans built a structure here? Before Earth was even settled?" Evan nodded slowly. "It seems that way. Whatever we found in that cavern, it's part of a long-lost human expedition, maybe even the first humans to travel beyond the stars." Reese frowned. "That's impossible. There's no record of humans in Andromeda before modern exploration." "Records don't always survive, sir," Mara said quietly. "Maybe we're looking at evidence of our ancestors, a civilization that seeded life across planets long ago." Evan's mind raced. The images flashed through his helmet visor when the chamber's door had opened. Strange cities, humans walking beside alien beings, stars collapsing in light. "Descendants," he whispered again. "That's what it called us." The words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. The first human, a new message appeared on the monitors, not written, but a live projection inside the control room. A figure slowly formed in the middle of the room, tall, humanoid, and glowing faintly with blue-white light. Its face was human, but its eyes held centuries of knowledge and sorrow. Evan and Mara stepped back, their hearts pounding. Commander Reese steadied himself. "I am the first human," the figure said. Its voice was deep, calm, and carried across the room without a speaker. "I was part of the original expedition that seeded humanity across this galaxy. Long before Earth became what you know, we spread life, shaped evolution, guided species, and preserved knowledge. But our mission failed in parts. Some civilizations fell and some of our own kind fought among themselves." Mara gasped. You created humans?" The first human nodded. "Not exactly. We guided them, protected them, ensured survival, but we also learned that curiosity and conflict are part of your nature. You are still our children, Evan, Mara, and yet you repeat the mistakes of the past." Evan swallowed. "Why are you here now? Why awaken yourself?" "Because the signals you sent, your expansion into this galaxy, reactivated my presence. Humanity is growing again, venturing into worlds we once touched. I was left here to warn the next generation, to ensure history does not repeat itself. You must learn from the past, before the future is lost." The control room hummed with energy. The first human raised a hand, and the monitors displayed visions of human and alien worlds, cities thriving, planets being terraformed, wars destroying civilizations. "You see your potential," the figure continued, "and you see the danger. If your curiosity is not balanced with wisdom, the stars will forget you as they did us." Evan felt a lump in his throat. What should we do? The first human's gaze softened. Teach, guide, remember. Humanity must grow beyond hunger, fear, and conflict. You are the link between what was and what can be. Protect knowledge, explore carefully, and value life wherever it exists. This is your purpose. This is your warning. A glimpse of the past, the figure extended its hand, and holographic fragments of ancient Earth and Andromeda appeared. Humans walked beside beings of light, planted seeds of life on barren worlds, and constructed massive cities across icy planets. Some humans wore advanced suits, others were unarmored, moving freely in alien environments. They were us, Mara whispered. But older, wiser. Yes, the first human said, and yet flawed. Like you, like all humans. That is why I left this message. So you may awaken, remember, and learn before mistakes erase you. Evan felt a strange mix of fear and hope. Humanity was not just a species born on Earth. They were part of a legacy spanning galaxies. And now that legacy rested on the choices he and his colleagues would make. The first human stepped closer. I cannot stay much longer. The energy sustaining me is tied to the chamber. Once you leave, it will collapse into the ice. My memory will remain encoded in the structures, in the signal, waiting for the next to awaken. Mara's eyes filled with tears. We won't forget. We'll tell the others. We'll carry your message, the figure nodded. I trust you. And remember, the stars are patient, but not infinite. The return to the surface, Evan and Mara returned to the shuttle, hearts racing. The heat signatures that had first drawn them down had vanished. The ice above was silent still and seemingly untouched. Commander Reese was waiting at the docking bay. Report, he demanded. Evan spoke first. We found it. The chamber beneath the ice. It's human-made, far older than anything we've seen, and it's alive in some sense. It spoke to us, warned us, Reese's brow furrowed. Spoke, warned you? Mara nodded. Yes, it called itself the first human. It's a guardian, left behind to teach us to prevent mistakes humanity has made before. We were awakened for a reason. The commander exhaled, unsure whether to believe them, but the monitors behind them flickered, and the word remember appeared again, this time fading slowly as the station's systems stabilized. A new understanding, Evan walked to the observation deck. Outside, the planet's ice storm had cleared slightly, revealing the distant glow of the cavern below. Somehow, the chamber's collapse had left a faint shimmer in the ice, as if a part of the first human remained. Mara joined him. Do you think we're ready for this? Evan looked at the stars. I don't know, but we have a choice now. We can ignore the warning, or we can try to be better, smarter, careful, maybe, worthy of the legacy we've inherited. She nodded. Worthy. A moment of silence passed. Then the station's systems beeped. Life support, communications, power, all stable. The threat was gone, but the responsibility remained. Evan felt a strange sense of calm. Humanity had been given a second chance, not just on Earth, but across the galaxy, and the first human had trusted them to carry the message forward. He whispered to himself, maybe we were never the first, but we still have the chance to be the best. Mara smiled faintly. And maybe we won't be the last. Outside, the stars glimmered brighter than ever. Somewhere in the depths of space, ancient humans had once walked. Now their descendants had awakened, and the future lay wide open. Epilogue. Weeks later, the message from Outpost Epsilon reached Earth. Scientists, historians, and explorers analyzed the signal, translating the fragments of ancient knowledge. Humanity learned of its place in the galaxy, a species that had walked with the stars long before it knew its home planet. Evan and Mara watched the first waves of new exploratory ships depart from Earth orbit. They were not just explorers. They were the carriers of a legacy. And somewhere, deep in Andromeda, the chamber waited quietly, holding its memory for the next generation. The galaxy was no longer silent. Humanity had awakened,